So the question is, can you learn a language with Duolingo? The shorter answer is no. The longer answer is yes. So hello there and welcome back to this channel. In today's video, I wanted to delve a bit into the topic that's quite a controversial one when it comes to learning languages, and that's the usefulness of the Duolingo app. So the question is, can you learn a language with Duolingo? The shorter answer is no. The longer answer is yes. And now let me explain. If you have watched one of my previous videos where I've spoken about how I learn languages and my 4 steps to actually learn a language, I have mentioned the first phase that I call the springboard phase, and that for that phase, I personally use the Duolingo app. Now, let me explain why. And if you haven't watched that video, now might be a good time to do that. So, if you haven't watched it, the link will be either here or here. I don't know which side it is. Sorry. Anyway, I have made a list of pros and cons when it comes to Duolingo that I would like to share today. The thing number 1 is that Duolingo allows you to go from easy to hard, and you cannot really skip. I know there is a bit of a way how to skip. Let's forget about that one for a moment. Before I knew Duolingo, I had to find a different way of how to start my language learning journey, and usually I used some kind of a book, though you probably know that I'm not a big fan of textbooks, but still, for example, when I began to learn French for the first time, I did use a book we have at home. What I did was that I began with the lesson number 1, and then I grew kind of bored because it was pretty simple. So I felt like, oh, I can skip a few lessons ahead, and that was a big mistake. I skipped to something like lesson number 10, and I realized I was completely lost. Yeah, it was kind of pointless, but the problem was I felt like I didn't really want to go back to lesson number 2, and it ended up in me putting the book away and learning French altogether for some time. With the Duolingo, there is this like entry-level test where the app assesses at what kind of level in the language you are, and based on that, it opens a certain amount of lessons for you that you can start with. I believe that is a great thing, because before you are like allowed to go further on, you have to complete the lessons that the app opened for you initially. And as I've mentioned before, I know there is like a way how you can skip it, but it's really pointless to do so. Going from easy to hard is probably the only way you could go to learn something. That's probably true. Thing number 2 is that if you aren't a fan of like the classic Duolingo lessons, there is like a new feature. Probably it's not that new, it's definitely been there for some years already, but it's newer, and that's Duolingo stories. Every story is something like a little conversation between 2 characters, and they use very like everyday life language and phrases that are useful to you as a beginner. And if you actually are able to catch those phrases, it's great. Those phrases are what will help you with the language so much. Trust me, it is the truth. So if the classic lessons are not your cup of tea, do try the stories. They actually might surprise you. Now let's get to some of the downsides, and let's start with probably the most common one, and that's totally random words. Like literally. I believe that if you've encountered the app, you probably know about this problem. It's a very, very common one. It's probably the thing number 1 that drives the majority of people away from it and makes them try another way of learning a language. Because yes, at the very beginning, you learn like the completely basic words like an apple, a girl, a boy, and something like that. And then there's a word like ice or bowl. And then there is a sentence like the ice is in the bowl. That was in my case. In Italian, I had this sentence, il ghiaccio nella ciotola. Yeah, it's completely random and you're not probably going to use it that much. I don't think I've ever used it in English, let alone in Italian. But that's just maybe my thing. I don't know, maybe someone would use that sentence. So the problem with random words is probably going to happen to everyone who uses the app, but if you can actually get through this and accept that yes, you will inevitably learn a few completely useless words for your daily use, but you will also learn the basics you need, then yeah, you can work with the app. I do apologize if I mess up the pronunciation of the words. I am still learning, so please be forgiving. Yes, I'm human, I make mistakes, I know that, but if you are learning a language, making mistakes is actually pretty crucial. Another downside is that I do not believe that you can learn a language fully through just Duolingo. If you happen to have done that, well, great for you. I don't say it's not possible, I just say it wasn't really possible for me, but I still do say that the app is very useful. What I have spoken about is just my personal opinion. I am not stating it as a general fact, nothing like that. If you do relate to what I'm talking about, then just great. If not, then just not. That's everyone's personal thing, I guess. In my opinion, if you want to learn a language to a level of fluency where you are able to talk with people, communicate, write in the language, and so on, you do need a stronger basis than just a list of words that the app is throwing at you and the sentences that are, I don't know if they are auto-generated or if someone is actually writing them. I'm not really sure how the app works. I believe you need a bit more than just that. So as I have said in the very beginning, can you learn language with Duolingo? I said no because you cannot learn any language with just Duolingo. And the yes for the longer answer stood for yes, Duolingo will definitely help you in your language learning process. It just won't help you all the way through. Well, I believe that's all for today I wanted to talk about. If this video helped you and you've enjoyed it, please give it a like or leave a comment down below. I would be so happy to read anything you have to say or a question if you have. And I believe that's it from me today, and I will see you again soon. Bye!